This video is for all of you Black Lives Matter haters that are constantly denigrating the movement.
A lot of folks have said Black Lives Matter movement doesn't have an agenda, but that's actually not true. A number of organizations who fall under that particular banner have released a number of items and actually have worked on those issues and actually improved on those issues. Well, yesterday, a consortium, if you will, of more than 50 organizations released an agenda calling for a variety of things, including end the war on black people, reparations, divestment from harmful institutions, economic justice for all, community control laws, independent black political power. Right now, I want to bring up Dejoy McHarris, a member of M4BL, which means Movement for Black Lives. She helped orchestrate these demands and joined us via FaceTime from Brooklyn, and of course our panel here as well. Dejoy, so what was the impetus for this? Because Campaign Zero put together a list of issues. I know the New York Justice League. I certainly know you also A Million Hoodies. I mean, so a number of organizations have done this. How did this come about and why?
Well, first, thank you for having me on. I want to say that this platform builds on the legacy of the Black radical tradition. And the reason why this platform is coming together because organizations across the country decided to form a united front and to struggle around what was the set of demands and priorities that needed to be put forth, particularly in this current political moment. And so what you see here and what people are seeing across the country is really the collection of policy recommendations, of demands that are really co-created, co-developed in deep collaboration with organizations across the country. We're talking large networks, grassroots organizations, movement-led and movement-centered organizations, Black-led, Black-centered organizations across the country. We're at a point now where this document, this platform has been co-created by about 30 organizations that are part of United Front and endorsed by an additional 30 organizations. And so this really is an articulation to the world of what this movement is calling for, a political vision, a set of demands, and a set of policy recommendations that we believe will help us move towards those demands. Is it a matter of, was it in response to any level of criticism saying that this movement was too decentralized, was not organized enough? It was never in response to criticism. Our communities, our movement has always been talking in our kitchens, in our classrooms, in our movement spaces about what's the political vision that we need to articulate, what are the demands that we need to surface. And this movement has always been in community and struggle and in unity, thinking about what are the demands that we need to surface to this country and to the world. And so we took a process and a period of time that really allowed for us to be collaborative, that allowed us to engage in meaningful struggle. This platform has been really over a year in the making. It's been a platform that allowed for people across the country from various different organizations, but that we're talking about Black lives, to engage and struggle with one another, to talk about how do we co-create a platform that speaks to this Black suffering, but for all Black lives, but that also helps moves us towards Black liberation. Faraja, your assessment of this agenda?
Well, I think it's a good agenda. I mean, I think it's a good start. But, you know, we have to keep in mind that when you're talking about the struggle of Black people, there have been many agendas. I can go back to the Million Man March of '95, the 20th anniversary. There's been many agendas put on the table. I don't think it's a problem of us determining what should be done. I think it's a problem of us figuring out. Right. Well, yeah, but but at the end of the day, we need to be unified. We need to say to ourselves, what is the agenda that we're going to adopt, or what part of each of these agendas are we going to adopt? But this is getting young activists, I'm speaking of Black activists, in a way of thinking more strategically about how to go and get political power. And that's the essential result.
But 2 points. One, I'll say this. To say there's a war on Black people, I think we have to be cautious with certain statements. I think it almost creates a sense of divisiveness. Two, I was talking to Dr. Davis during the commercial break and had a very interesting conversation, which we both very much agree. I think, and to your point also, we have to begin to teach and develop a culture of more engagement in the process overall. Having individuals run for office and really learning the entire process, period. I think a lot of people sensationalize things, and we're just talking about our generation as a soundbite generation. We have to start to understand how the process actually works. Get things done.
Well, personally, I agree with the term "it's a war on black people" because I really believe that there is a war on black people. I believe my life is in danger, and my son's lives are in danger every time they step out of the door. But I also want to commend this group for pushing the envelope, especially in terms of advancing the argument for reparations. This is an argument that I think needs to be addressed in this country. I am so tired of people talking about healing and reconciliation when we haven't had truth and we haven't had reparations. We need that, and this is a great place to start that discussion.
If I can ask a question of Ms. McCarris. I would like to know if your organization is going to have members run for office, engage in the formal political process, and if not, why, and if so, when?
So, thank you for that question. I just wanted to say something really quickly, particularly towards the naming of the war on black people.
I got about 45 seconds, so go ahead.
We believe that we can't fight or end a problem that we can't name. And so from enslavement to colonialism to mass incarceration, we believe that there's an ongoing unnamed and named war against black people. And in terms of elected office, we're part of a decentralized movement. And what we believe is that folks across this movement will take on different elements of what it means to push for political issues, what it means to push for our demands and for an agenda. So while I will not be running for elected office, there's various different parts of this movement that we believe if they can embody what it means to protect, what it means to defend black lives, that they will push for it in various different ways.
Unfortunately, folks, I gotta leave it there. We'll surely be following up on this as well. Tanjane, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. When we come back, we'll talk.
All right, so for all you Black Lives Matter haters, there is some additional information for you whenever you want to make the statement that they don't have an agenda. Now, I was going to make a separate video about this subject, but I'm just going to tag this onto the end of this piece, particularly since it deals with black lives. I am of the opinion that, and it's going to be a controversial one, I want to know why we don't have 100 million black people in this country. Numbers equal political power. The more numbers you have, that vote, the more political power you're going to have. Our population, and I'm speaking about the black population, is somewhere north of 45 million people. That growth has been substantially stunted. There should be at least 100 million black people in this country. Now, there are a variety of reasons why our numbers have been depressed. Abortion, murders, incarceration, etc. Okay, I'm a pro-choice guy, but I believe the choice that should be made is to bring life into this world. Now, we need to do that responsibly. No ifs, ands, or buts. Speaking from my own situation, you know, I have a daughter. I don't have 20 kids out there. You know, I have the one. And she is, you know, the light of my life. But we need more numbers. We need to be responsible about our situations. You know, my parents, they raised 5 of us, and we were always talking about, you know, poverty, this, that, and the other. But back in the day, no matter how many kids a family had, they always found a way. Were things the greatest? No, absolutely not. But We all were educated. We all, I had to think about that for a second because of my brother, but we are all successful, okay? And he's an entrepreneur, so he's successful in his own way. He's making money and he's legit. And we were loved. Education was stressed, okay? And each of us got education. So if you can bring a child into this world, you'll find a way. If you love that child, okay, you can get that child a good education, i.e. potentially a charter school, which is a video I just did, okay, and make sure that that kid understands right from wrong and has a firm but loving hand leading and guiding him, things will be better. Now, on the flip side, when that starts occurring, the war on black people is going to show its face in full force, because the majority, which is slowly becoming the minority, is going to try to hang on to power, clawing hand to fist to hold on to it. That's why you see all of these bullshit voter ID laws in order to restrict power. That's why you see black people between the ages of 10 to 50 having a 1 in 3 chance of being incarcerated. We're being targeted. We're being targeted, and the reason we're being targeted is for one thing and one thing only: so that the majority can stay in power. We have to recognize that game plan, and we have to actively work against it, okay? Because right is right, wrong is wrong, everybody knows which is which, and at the end of the day, if everybody's needs, not wants, but basic needs are met, then it's up to us in order to either push forward or sit back. When I say needs, I'm talking about food on the table, roof overhead, health of ourselves, our spouses, and our children. Once those things are obtained, it is your own individual drive that will and should make you a greater success than the person who does not have that drive. Anyway, I'm rambling. Bottom line is, black people, we need to get our numbers up. The Hispanic people are doing that, and you could see the effect they're having in places like California, certain parts of Texas, New York City, and even in Chicago.